Hyperon Tutorials Parameters Part 3. In this tutorial, we will focus on settings available in the parameter definition section and their influence on the parameter execution. Match required decides how the system will react if no match will be found in the parameter. If match required is checked, then the system will return an error message pointing to that parameter. If match required is not selected, in case no match is found, the parameter will return null value and the system will use null as a result value for this parameter. Here we have checked the match required checkbox. I will copy this parameter. To easily understand which one is which, we can also edit the name. Let's call this one the copy, no match required, and in the original parameter, the name will not be changed. And in the copy, I will uncheck the match required box. For testing purposes, as a gender, we will type an X and as age, value 30. Now run the test case. And as a result, for both parameters, tester assigned yellow test status. In logs, we may see what actually is the cause of the problem. And here we have a message, value not found for our input level values. In parameter without match required, no error message is shown, the null value is returned. The next property is in-memory index. It has a big influence on efficiency. Checked means that the matrix should be kept in memory. If not checked, with every call, the matrix must be loaded from the database. Let's see how it looks in numbers. Again, let's use two almost identical parameters. One with matrix kept in memory that will be named in memory, and the other without that checkbox selected. Let's go to the tester and load those two. As always, we need to provide the test input data. Then we may run this test. Everything looks good. No error message was shown. Here we do not really see any differences. Both parameters gave the same result. So let's check how it works when parameters are called for multiple test cases, where we can measure the time of a single run of the test case. We need to use the batch tester for that. In the batch tester, we add the test cases from singular tester. But this test is still based on one case, one set of input data values, m for gender and 50 for age. Let's do it for value m in the age range from 50 to 55. How do we do that? Export package to Excel file. Open downloaded file. Here in column age, provide age range from 50 to 55. And in column gender, multiple m values. Save the file and import it back to the batch tester. As you see, now there are few more test cases in the tester. 6 for every parameter, 1 for each dataset. Run all test cases. Now we may see how keeping matrix in memory by checking in-memory index increases efficiency. For the first run of the parameters, we can see that for both with in-memory index checked and without, a single run of the parameter takes a similar amount of time. For the parameter with in-memory index checked, for every other count, the time of calculation was far less than the first one. And when the matrix was not kept in memory, every call to the parameter was equally time-consuming. Distinct has an influence only on how the duplicated records in the matrix are processed by the matching mechanism. If any record in the matrix is duplicated in Hyperon Studio, it will be duplicated in the Hyperon database, regardless of whether distinct was or wasn't checked. If distinct is not checked, parameter with duplicated records will return duplicated results. But if we modify our parameter definition by checking the distinct checkbox, in the tester we should get only one result, even though in the matrix there are two matching records. All because those two matching results are identical rows in the matrix, and distinct property will consider them one and the same, giving us only one result. External source. All in and out levels must be defined in the Hyperon Studio, within the parameter definition section. External source property pulls matrix values from the external database. This means that the matrix is not kept in Hyperon Studio nor in the Hyperon database. This mentioned external database must be defined in Application Properties file. Only when application properties file is configured correctly, the SQL template section will be filled. If the in-memory index is checked, it means that the parameter is cacheable. And if it is checked, in-memory SQL is run. If the in-memory index is not checked, non-memory SQL command is executed. Auto-refresh property decides if and when the parameters matrix must be deleted from cache memory. When the parameter is deleted from cache memory, to run the parameter again, another request to the external database must be made, and the whole parameter is loaded to the Hyperon Studio again. And the sorting method. You can pick the out level by which result sorting will be made. Sorting is always made according to the data type in the selected level, so it will work differently for data type string, date, and number. Here, for input data F18, 3 results are returned. In parameters out level, let's add sorting method for factor, and let's say we want to have the highest one returned as the first result. Add level factor and define the sorting method as descending, so the highest number will be on the top. When we run this updated parameter in the tester, value 1 is returned as first. This is all for part 3. In the next video tutorial, we will be focusing on the values that can be used in the matrix.